Hello, I'm Anthony Hughes. Thank you for joining me in this video. I'm going to run through a few settings that can lead to problems with playback in Dorico if not set up correctly for your system. This video is specifically for those of you who are running Dorico on Mac. If you're using Windows, there's a separate video for you, which you can jump to from up here somewhere. Okay, let's get straight on with it. The near limitless number of combinations of computer hardware, software, configurations, and settings means that when it comes to something advanced like working with complex audio applications such as Dorico, you might run into the occasional setup issue. Today, I'm going to talk a bit about device setup, what the defaults should be, and how to set Dorico to use an external audio interface if you have one. Bluetooth devices and the best way to route Dorico's audio to use them. We're going to check you have everything you need installed and configured correctly so that Dorico can access the included sample libraries. And we'll run through a number of things to check along the way that might help with some specific problems. Now, as an initial check, start a new project using the solo piano template with a few bars set here. Once the project has fully loaded, enable the click by pressing the Metronome button on the toolbar and then press play. If you hear the metronome click, then that's great. The audio setup is working as it should. Good. If you can't hear a click, then try some of these next suggestions and keep coming back to this test as a way to see if one of them has worked. Incidentally, you can customize the metronome click in playback options, which are found in the library menu, or by using the key command Command-Shift-P. Here, you can choose between 3 click sounds, as well as set the pitch and velocity of each type of beat. Now, let's check that Dorico knows what to do with the sound it's generating. If you open the Edit menu, you can find Device Setup. It may be that you wish to use your computer's speakers or headphone output to hear the sound made by Dorico. macOS has a special little piece of software known as an audio driver for this very purpose. It will take care of getting Dorico's audio output to your computer's speakers. So if that's you, you're just using your computer on its own to run Dorico, then let's look at the ASIO driver. ASIO stands for Audio Stream Input Output and was originally developed by Steinberg way back in the 1990s when my hair was longer. Select Built-in Audio as the ASIO driver to play back your Dorico projects through your computer's speakers. It doesn't massively matter whether the sample rate is set to 44.1 or 48 kHz, but good advice is to use the same sample rate across all applications. So if you're using Cubase or Logic or something like that, then just check these match. In some situations, having a sample rate mismatch between different applications has resulted in the Dorico playhead not moving, so that's why it's good to check. You can, of course, use an external interface as your audio device, and you may already be managing your computer audio through one of these. In this case, you will want to choose that device as the ASIO driver, so Dorico will send its audio to it. For example, I have a Steinberg AXR4 audio interface connected to my system, so I want to choose that here. And then I also need to select the relevant stereo output ports. Check these because there may be multiple outputs depending on your device, and if you don't send the audio to the correct output, you won't hear it. For my setup, I'm choosing line 3 and 4 as the output ports. Let's now take a look at connecting Bluetooth devices such as AirPods or other Bluetooth headsets. Firstly, make sure that the device is connected and working with other apps. Maybe try with a music player. Quit Dorico and then launch Audio MIDI Setup, which can be found in the Utilities directory of applications. In the Audio Devices window, create a new aggregate device and add only the stereo outputs of the headset, not the inputs or any other device. You can rename the aggregate device if you wish. Just make sure it will be easily recognizable. Start Dorico, and back in the device setup dialog, you can choose that new aggregate device. Don't choose the Bluetooth device's default entry here. Make sure it's the aggregate device we just set up. Otherwise, you may get problems with only the left channel working or something like that. You might find you need to follow these steps and create an aggregate device if you are having difficulty with an Apple Studio display. Again, choosing only the stereo outputs for the aggregate device. Dorico uses something called VST instruments to play back your music. I explain this in more detail in my video about out-of-the-box playback that I'll link to here. So if you're not sure what VST instruments are, then please do check out that video. But the important thing to understand is that you need to make sure you have installed not only Dorico, the actual notation application, but also the HALion Sonic VST player, Groove Agent SE for playing drum sounds, and all of the VST sample libraries that ship with Dorico. In the Steinberg download assistant, when you select Dorico, all of these sample players and libraries are listed under the main application. For example, Iconica Sketch is the main library that provides sounds for the majority of Dorico's orchestral instruments. Etude Elements is for the piano sound, and there are choir libraries and lots of drum set content as well. If you don't install all the libraries, you might see an error message saying an essential component is missing, and when you add certain instruments to your score, they may make no sound. It's best to use Steinberg Download Assistant to install all in order to be absolutely sure that you have installed everything that you might need. When there are green ticks all the way down, you're good to go. As I say, HALion Sonic is the main sample player that Dorico uses, so let's have a little look. I'm going to suggest creating a new project, again using the solo piano template. The reason that using a piano is good is that it's a simple preset. Many sounds use the mod wheel and so on to control dynamics, volume, and other aspects of the sound. This piano is straightforward and it's easy to tell whether it's working or not. Switch to play mode, and in the track inspector routing section, click the Edit Instrument button to open HALion Sonic. If everything has been installed correctly, you will see the Concert Grand Elements piano preset loaded into slot 1. Try playing notes on the virtual keyboard by clicking them, and you should hopefully hear the piano sound and also get some visual feedback from the level meter. If there is visible metering, but you can't hear anything, then it's most likely a problem with the audio driver. So check the device setup dialog, remembering everything that we covered earlier. Check the correct device is selected and check the correct output ports are selected. Also, click on Device Control Panel and, if available, ensure the output port is checked. This dialog will look a little different depending on your selected device, so don't be concerned if this option isn't available. If you'll forgive me for mentioning it, it is also worth just double checking that your speakers are connected, switched on, and with any volume knobs turned up. Check your system audio level. Have a look at Dorico's mixer, which you can find in the lower zone in Write, Engrave, and Play modes, or open in its own window from the toolbar. Check that channels are not muted, or that the faders aren't all the way down. Look out for any tracks that might be soloed, as this will automatically mute all other tracks. For example, there's a key command to solo the selected track, and it'll solo the Dorico beep channel that's used for the Metronome click. You can use the buttons at the top of the mixer to clear all soloed or muted channels. And do the same for any external audio interface you might have connected. For example, the AXR4 connected to my Mac has a huge amount of flexibility for routing and controlling audio. It can be easy to have something set that means the sound from Dorico just isn't getting through. If using the virtual keyboard in HALion Sonic works fine, but playing on your MIDI keyboard does not, ensure that it is connected correctly, and then open Dorico Preferences, switch to the play page, and under MIDI input devices, make sure the correct MIDI device and port are selected here. There's no penalty for having every option selected, so I just leave them all on. If you're getting sound but experiencing pops, clicks and dropouts, then you can try changing a couple of options in HALion Sonic. Switch to the Options tab. Try moving the balance slider towards RAM. And try using the multi-core feature. You could set this to anything up to about half of your available cores. And the other thing I would say is that if it's at all possible that you're able to use an SSD, a solid state drive, rather than a hard disk drive, they are much faster, and Dorico will definitely perform better as a result. Even if you can get hold of an external SSD to keep your sound libraries on, that will help. And so, talking about sound libraries, there is a dedicated piece of software that allows you to see and manage all of the content registered for use in Steinberg products. It's called the Steinberg Library Manager, and it will have been installed along with the Steinberg Download Assistant. Clicking the Details button for a particular library shows you the files associated with that library and their location. When you install a sound library using the Steinberg Download Assistant, the silent installation process will first save the files to your Downloads folder and then automatically move the content to the correct location on your computer. If you download a library manually from the Steinberg website, when you double-click the downloaded files, the Steinberg Library Manager will allow you to specify how and where to install and register the library. I recommend always installing to the correct location. If you find the files are in the wrong place and the sound library is not working, use the Steinberg Library Manager to remove the library and then install it again. If this doesn't fix the problem, I suggest you contact support or ask on the official Dorico forum, where we will be able to investigate your specific problem more thoroughly. I shall put some details in the description below. If you wish to move one or more libraries, perhaps because you've invested in that SSD I mentioned, then always use the Steinberg Library Manager move command. Don't try to move the files manually. If you do, Dorico and any other software that uses those libraries, such as Cubase, will not know where they are and won't be able to access them. If you use a computer with multiple user accounts, for example, a school computer, and don't have access to the content, then please refer to our multi-user guide. I shall put a link in the description below. Finally, a couple of settings that you can find in Dorico's preferences on the VST plugins page. If a sound library is not appearing in the list of available VST instruments in play mode, it's possible it may have ended up on a blocked list. Clicking Clear Audio Engine Cache will force a rescan the next time you start Dorico. If you have a lot of plugins, this can take a long time. So if you're shown this message box during startup, then choose Continue to Wait, as Dorico is most likely still working through the list of plugins. This second setting, Reset Audio Engine Data, should only be used if advised by a member of Steinberg's support staff. I do hope that I've been able to help with any playback issues you may have been experiencing. If you're still experiencing problems, then please do get in touch on the official Dorico forum. Look for the details below. It's quite possible that someone will have already solved the problem you're experiencing. But if not, start a new topic with as much detail as you can provide, and we'll do our best to help get you sorted quickly. If this video has been helpful, then please do click the thumbs up button below. That'll help the video to reach others that may be experiencing similar issues. And please subscribe to the Dorico channel to hear about new releases and to find dozens of tutorials covering all features. I'm Anthony Hughes. Thanks for watching.